The marketing for Ironheart has finally begun. We're only a month out from the series and they're finally dropping a trailer for it, which honestly doesn't look that bad. I think Ironheart could be a great series. I've heard a lot of people talking bad about it, but after this trailer, I have some hopes for it. Not a lot, but some hopes, and I want to see it succeed because I do like the Ironheart character from the comics. And it's interesting to see what they're kind of doing with her, where she seems to be getting mixed up with the Hood as she needs money for her Ironheart project for making her suits. So she ends up getting into some illegal activities, but then realizing that the Hood is actually a bad guy and turning on him and going against him, which I think is going to be an interesting twist for her story, since we saw her in Wakanda Forever. We saw her have her own prototype suit, we saw her get a Wakandan suit, and now she's back to square one as she now has to design a new one to follow in the footsteps of being a hero. Now, so far from the comics, her story has changed a lot, because in the comics, it revolves around Tony Stark. I'm interested to seeing how they're gonna change it, because it looks like they're still keeping some aspects of it. There's a scene where we get to see a little hologram pop up, which in the comics would be her best friend that she created an AI for, because she lost her in a drive-by shooting prior to the events. But that didn't happen until later in the comics. At first, it did start as a Tony Stark AI. So I think this is just them kind of moving past the Tony Stark stuff from the comics. Plus, there's also a scene where she jumps in front of a truck and stops it, which looks like it's homage to the comics as well, because she does that in her first prototype suit, which ends up damaging it, making a need to create another one, which we do see two suits in this trailer, going from this first prototype to the second one, which I think is really cool to finally see. Also, the suit I think looks great, so it's just cool to get this, and I do kind of hope they go with the comic color scheme at some point, but I do like where they're starting off with. Plus, the Hood is an interesting choice for this series, since the Hood isn't really a Ironheart villain. I'm kind of curious to see what they're going to do, because there's been rumors that he's made a deal with Mephisto, so our first introduction to Mephisto in this series, and kind of a weird place to put him. But in the comics, the Hood's life was changed when a botched robbery ended with him unaliving a demon, which then ended up getting him the demon's mystical cloak and boots that granted him the abilities of invisibility while holding his breath and levitation, which we do see in this. So interesting choice of a villain for this. I'm curious to see what they're going to do with him, because a lot of stuff is going to be changed from the comics. So let me know, what did you think of this trailer and how do you feel about it?